Greetings, diners, and welcome to another edition of The Cooking Zone. Here on the Doomstead Diner, in the diner kitchen. And today we are going to have one of my favorite foods, as you might have noticed from the number of times I've eaten it in different fabrications over the last few weeks. Which is Alaska salmon. Okay, I mean, you can't beat it. It's you can eat it raw, you can bake it, you can pan fry it, you can deep fry it, however you want to cook it. You can cook it. You can put it in a chowder if you like that. But today I'm gonna bake. Okay, well, I'm gonna do actually a combination of techniques to do this salmon, and if you have been around since the beginning, then you probably saw a while back, right near the beginning of Cooking Zone experimentation, and you know, before I really got my shit together. I did a baked salmon Alaska, which, you know, had traditional Alaska stuff in it, and is excellent. You know, I love it. But I wanted to do something different. So today we're going with a taste of the Caribbean. You know, get, you know, at least the thought of warm weather, even if we aren't quite there yet. But we are up into the 40s, which is a huge improvement. And the snow is starting to melt off the roads and off the sidewalks or the bike paths, and I hopefully will be able to start to use my cripple cart, which is an electric scooter, outside again here pretty soon, which will really give me a lot more mobility than I currently have. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put some butter in on the bottom of this pie plate, which I have lined with a piece of aluminum foil. Now, you can do this in just the aluminum foil if you want, but you're going to always chance that the foil gets a hole in it and starts dripping out those lovely juices, which not only is annoying on the level of losing the juices that you want to be eating, it's also annoying that you got to clean it from your oven. Usually in one way or another, unless you've been really careful and had something under it and so forth. Okay, and that's enough butter here for now. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to season our salmon, and we got to get our salmon right. Got to see what that guy looks like here before we wrap it up to bake. So let me get that salmon fillet. And is that guy really beautiful or what? Okay, nice and thick, and I got to take the plastic off the bottom. That won't cook very well. Well, it'll cook, but it won't taste too good or be too healthy. And I'll drop it in here temporarily to season. And we'll start with seasoning with some Alaska Bristol Bay. Okay, that's this stuff. Alright, it's my favorite fish seasoning. And you don't have to use that, or you could use Old Bay or whatever. You know, I just like to have a little of that Alaska flavor in there. And not too much. There's about a quarter of a teaspoon in there. That'll go on here. Not because it's got salt in it, and I don't like a lot of salt in my food. Okay, so that's really enough as far as I'm concerned. Okay, and the rest of it will go on the other side, on the skin. Okay, and then after that, we're going to put on some dill seed. Okay, dill. Okay, and once again, we want to not get too insane with it. That's enough dill seed, I think. And that is the last time we're going to see this salmon, or the pink side, until we eat it. Because it's going to turn it over now, and we're going to bake this one skin side up. Okay? Because of what we're going to do at the end of the bake, which I'll leave as a surprise. Okay? And now the same procedure. Okay, a little bit of the salt or the seasoning. Yeah, and I'm gonna wipe it out with my fingers. That'll do. Spread it out there around the skin. Good. And now, let's go ahead and add some dill on top. Yeah, I think that's enough. Very good. And now we also want to add, oh, and I should have put some of this underneath, so I'm going to do that right now. Let's tip that up. This is, let me show it to you. Chopped up onion, garlic and fresh ginger. Okay, ginger root. And so we're going to lay that along the bottom. Good. And then, and you notice there's a lot of it. That's because of my rule, which you all know by now, which is you can never have too much garlic in a meal or too much garlic in a day. Because, you know, it's collapse time. And there are zombies and other things, other bad things out there that might hurt you. And garlic will protect you. Besides that, it's really healthy. And it tastes good. And it gives a wonderful aroma to your food. So I like a lot of garlic, you know. But even for me, that was too much garlic, as usual. Get enthused when I start chopping this stuff. Okay, so now we've got the garlic and the other spices on there, and now we've got to give it that taste of the Caribbean, okay? And so we're got to get citrus, and we're going to start out with a half, because this is not a huge salmon, okay? You know, if it was a whole fillet or something, you'd probably use like 2 lemons. But a half a lemon, and not even all the juice, is going to be enough here. We'll start with the lemon. Alright, I think that's enough of the lemon juice. And then hit another citrus plant, or I don't know, fruit, which is lime. So we've got lemon and we've got lime, which are both pretty acidic and sour overall in their flavor. So there's a lot of sour in this mix right now. So we want to sweeten it up too, right? And to do that, to start with, because there will be other stuff later, we're going to go with these beautiful clementine oranges. Are those lovely? They're small, but they are tasty. So we're going to use actually 2 of these, 2 full clementine oranges, not halves or anything like that. And this juice, it's also acidic, but it's got a lot more fructose in it, and so it's a lot sweeter than the lemon and the lime. And you know that, I think, if you ever made orange juice versus lemonade or limeade, when you make orange juice, all you got to do is squeeze the oranges. But when you make lemonade or limeade, you got to add, you know, some sugar in there, or it's going to be too sour and you won't sell any. And you know, how can you learn to be a good capitalist if you didn't run a lemonade stand at a profit when you were a kid? The oranges will add sweetness and complete our trio of citrus that we're using. Now you could use other citrus. You could use grapefruit if you want. Try that. I've never tried it, but it could be alright. And if you have any other favorites. And last one. And that is enough. Juice. Good. Okay. So it is all prepared now. And I'm going to fold it up, at least beginning prepared, for the baking portion of this cook. And I want it relatively sealed, not super tight, but I also don't want too much moisture to escape. I want a nice moist piece of salmon at the end of it. Okay. And I also don't want to overcook it or cook it too hot so that, you know, it cooks through too fast. You want it a fairly slow cook. I'm going to cook around 275, I think, for this one. And I'll probably give it about 20 minutes to half an hour at that temperature before I move on to the next portion of the cook. Okay, now it's ready, and I've got to warm up. And this is being done on our bug-out apparatus again. I'm using the toaster oven over there, which we'll get on camera in the next segment. And it's an easy to fix meal. Good grief. You can't get easier than this, really. And, well, you could buy microwavables. But who wants to do that? I mean, you want to eat good food, right? And this is a classy fucking meal. So, you know, regardless what you have with it. I think I'll have, I've got some asparagus. I think I'll just steam up some asparagus and have that with it. And should be good. Good to go. I think I'll forego carbo for this because I've been eating a lot of carbo. I'm still consuming the corned beef and cabbage I made up, which I will be doing for a while. And in with that are potatoes and carrots and stuff like that. So there's a lot of carbo in there. So, you know, salmon and asparagus, very good. Okay, we'll be back when we're ready to go into the toaster oven. Later. All right, we are over by the toaster oven now. That's this guy. That's a microwave over there. And if you can look closely, I don't know if you can see from that distance with the camera or whatever, but I've got a little hanging thermometer in there, and it's saying that we're just about 300 degrees, a little warmer than I wanted it to be, because I set it up high so it would preheat fast. So I just turn the temperature down, and then when I open up the front door, it'll cool off, so it'll be at 275 more or less. Okay, so now we'll open up, and this is not exactly rocket science procedure. And we've got our salmon wrapped up in the foil, and we'll put it in. We'll close the door, and now it's hurry up and wait. I'll be back when the salmon is close to done, and unwrap it, and then we'll move on to the second part of this cook. Okay? All right, back with you in a bit. Okay, we've been baking here for a little over 20 minutes, and the temperature has hung out around 300, despite the fact that I lowered it on the control knob. And again, just like with the electric hot plate, the controlling the heat on electric cooking devices is more guesswork than anything else. So now we're going to get on to the next part of this cook. Okay, we're going to get this guy out of here for now. And yeah, some of the juice did leak out of this container. So I am glad that I used a pie plate to support it and keep my oven clean. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to unwrap it, and I don't know if you can see, probably not from where you're at, the skin is still silver colored. There's no browning or anything like that, and so it's still it's a rather it's not a crispy skin. I like crispy. So we're going to go now from bake to broil. All right, on the oven or toaster oven, and we're going to raise the temperature up to broil. And for right now, I'm not going to raise up the tray or the shelf closer to the heating element because I want to see how fast I get my browning. Now the color of the salmon, you can see here, get it where you can see it, is gotten pink, but not super pink. Okay, this is not fully done by most people's standards. Okay, it's pretty close to done as far as my standards are concerned. Okay, and we'll put it back in, and we'll give it a few minutes and see how well that skin is browning up. If it's not browning up fast enough, then I'll take it out again and scoot it up closer to the heating element. Or maybe I'll just put something under it. Oh, the timer went off. I'm back on. If the timer isn't running, then the heating element isn't running. And so we'll see how that goes. Okay? And I'll be back in a few minutes after I observe what's going on. All right. More coming. Okay, it was not browning fast enough for me, so out it came, and I moved the shelf up from here on the second one up to the top one, so it's closer to the heating element. And what I'm going to do, the final ingredient here, which I haven't put on yet, first I'm going to scrape off the top of the skin, the ginger and the garlic, and I'm going to add special other sweetening ingredient, organic maple syrup, the real thing, straight from Vermont. Okay, since this is maple tapping and birch tapping season up here in Alaska, well, actually we have about another month up here in Alaska. Still a little too cold for the sap to run. And we're going to pour this over it just a little bit, not a huge amount, to caramelize on the skin and add some really nice sweetness to this citrus baked salmon. And that's not a common combination in Hawaii or wherever they do citrus salmon, because you know they don't tap maple trees in Hawaii, and we don't grow citrus here in Alaska. So the only reason I'm able to do this is because of that marvelous thing called just-in-time delivery and air freight and barges and that sort of business. Okay, in we go. And now it should brown up and caramelize reasonably quickly, I hope. Okay, and am I all the way up? Yes, I am. All right, we'll be back again after it's out of the toaster oven for good. I'll get it on a plate and sample it up on camera. And then I'll cover it up and get my asparagus out of the steamer and butter them up so I can have a whole meal. But I'm not going to eat a whole meal on camera. I'll just take a couple of bites of salmon. All right, back for one more segment here at the cooking zone of the Doomstead Diner. All right, our citrus maple salmon fillet bake is done, and it came out gorgeous. If you'll notice, the skin got nicely browned, okay? Even though there's some silver, it's still, you know, pretty well done. And then if you look on the sides, look at all that great salmon fat that comes oozing out during the cook. Just delicious. Okay? And one thing I do want to reinforce on this one is, you know, we try to do the snap card budget, you know, of $5 a day for cooking, generally speaking, to keep our prices down, our costs down. But this guy does not make it. This is what we call a premium meal. And if you watch your pennies for the month, then, you know, go $1 under on this day, 50 cents under on that day. By the last week of the month of your snap card, you're going to have enough leftover money to treat yourself to something like this. Now, this salmon was not on sale, but it looks so nice I had to buy it. It was $12 a pound, and it's about a 3/4 of a pound slice. So it came in at around $8, and then there's the cost of the fruit and so forth, and the asparagus and all the rest of it. This meal is well over $10 to cook it up. All right, now we got to try it out, and I got to be able to cut it with my crippled arm, and it should just kind of flake apart, which it does. And we can swish it around in the sauce, and let me tell you how it tastes. Oh, goodness. Fish goodness. It's got that tangy citrus flavor, but the sweetness of the maple syrup. And the fish flesh is about perfectly done. Inside, the skin is nice, and I wouldn't say it's crunchy, but it's not soggy either. You really want super crispy skin. You got to either do it over a grill, open flame, or in a skillet. You can't really get that in the broiler. Okay, that's all I'm eating on camera. Gotta go get the asparagus. That's all the doom. This time Until next time, here in the cooking zone of the Doomstead Diner. And have a good meal tonight. I hope you've digested all your corned beef and cabbage and are recovering from your hangover. Huh, well, wait a minute, it's still early, it's still Sunday. Shit, you're still drinking. Okay, I gotta go back to drinking too. Later, folks, have a good one.